I only did this for the sticker. That's it. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Sarah and I make videos about health and fitness and all of those things, endurance sports. So if that's something that you're into, buttons, things, jazzola, conveniently located down below. You can press any or all of those buttons and you'll have my eternal gratitude and appreciation. Go ahead and hit those buttons. But today's video is going to take the form of a vlog, and I'm going to be sharing my experience with the COVID-19 Pfizer mRNA vaccine. And in this video, I'm going to be taking my first dose. It is April 20th, 2021, which is a Tuesday. It's about 1:10 in the afternoon. I have my appointment in about 20 minutes. And then I'm going to give a little bit of an exposition and introduction. And then I'll kind of just cover my experience over the next maybe 24 to 48 hours. If I have any side effects, I'll share those things with you. And then I'll just do kind of a follow-up vlog with the second dose to see if there's anything that might have changed, whether or not I have side effects. And the purpose of these videos is to help maybe demystify the experience for some of you out there that are going to get the vaccine. Maybe you have it planned for the next few weeks to a month or so, you have something scheduled, but you want to prepare yourself mentally and physically for what you might endure during the course of these vaccines. So I want to kind of share that experience, maybe some of my thoughts that might help some of you out as you kind of plan and schedule yourself for your own set of vaccines. Now, standard disclaimers apply, right? When it comes to anything surrounding COVID-19, you want to go to those trusted resources out there that have the most up-to-date information, right? Checking the CDC website. As of right now, you should be checking out the emergency use authorization for the vaccines that are out there. Right now, at the time of making this video, we have Moderna and we have Pfizer that are on the market, both mRNA vaccines. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is on pause. However, I don't anticipate that that's going to be like that forever, but a lot of the same information applies. The difference being that the Johnson & Johnson is a single dose and it follows a more traditional protocol for vaccination, and both the Moderna and the Pfizer are mRNA vaccines and they follow that double dose protocol. Now, while all of these vaccines are new, right, we're addressing a new virus, new coronavirus, and you might be a little bit uncertain about the mRNA vaccine, which is completely fair. It might give you some degree of solace to know that mRNA research surrounding vaccine delivery and medication, or delivery of other medications, is not a new technology. It has not been used, but it's not something that we just came up with last year. It has been something that has been researched and going through some of the vetting process over the last decade. So you can understand that, we're not just taking a gamble on something that we've never looked at before. There is a little bit of research to be had around mRNA vaccine. Now, this particular spike protein in this particular disease, of course, it's new, but you have to try to vet this stuff out at some point. We may as well do it in the course of a pandemic. There's a lot of promising information around the mRNA vaccine, so maybe you won't have to have as much panic around mRNA vaccination and delivery being brand new, right? They have been vetting this, they've been researching this. You can go ahead and look into that on your own if you're interested in a little bit more information there, but it's not a year-old technology. This is something that the researchers have been looking at. The next thing you might be looking at are things like side effects, right? And the side effects that are being listed by a lot of these vaccines are pretty similar to the flu, right? Fever, body aches, chills, fatigue, maybe some other types of illness symptoms. And I think a lot of people start to confuse those side effects with maybe rare side effects, things that are going to indicate a bad reaction to the vaccine. But really what the experts are saying, and it makes a lot of sense logically speaking, is that having the side effects, while it's not fun in the moment, it's not a positive experience, it actually is a positive sign. And what that's indicating to you is that your body is creating an immune response. So what's going on with all three of these vaccines, with Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson, is the vaccine is trying to trick your body into thinking it has COVID-19. It's not actually introducing COVID-19 to your system. It is simulating that you have the disease and hoping that your immune system creates some kind of response. So when the immune system does that, it's going to create antibodies, and when it detects an invader or a virus, it creates those symptoms as a response to fight the virus, right? You may get the fever, right? Your temperature rises when you're trying to fight off some kind of infection. You may get the energy drain and those body aches. Those are things that are trying to draw enough energy out of your body to reappropriate it to fighting the virus. So when you have these side effects when you get the vaccine, it's a pretty good indication that your immune system is building up the proper response. It's recognizing that it needs to be doing something and that the vaccine is actually working. Now, in pretty short order, the body's going to figure out that it's been punked, right? So usually within 24 hours for most folks, those severe side effects, they go away. It's like, there's no virus here. I see what you did there. That's not funny, right? But at that point, the antibodies are already built up. So if you do get exposed to the virus down the line, body says, I know this asshole. No. I got the antibodies. You don't come in here. This is my house, right? So you either have a lesser severity of the disease, or you can avoid it altogether, depending on how many of those antibodies you're able to build up and how similar the variant of the disease might be to what they've targeted during the course of these vaccines. Now, what you're seeing out there kind of anecdotally and in case studies is that a lot of folks who have had coronavirus are seeing more severe side effects, and they are seeing them on the first dose because they already have some antibodies in the system. That introduction of the first dose is kind of bringing up that antibody level to a state of critical mass, so that immune response comes earlier. Whereas those people who have not had the virus in the past are usually seeing those side effects and symptoms occur on the second dose of the vaccine, where the antibodies are reaching critical mass with that second dose, right? We need to have the 2 doses to get enough antibodies in the system to get that full immunity that they're purporting in these vaccines. So it kind of makes sense. If you already have some antibodies, you'll probably have a reaction sooner. That is not mutually exclusive. That's not always the case with everybody, but you just need to be aware of that and plan for it accordingly, right? And we know that a lot of people have had coronavirus, especially early on when we didn't have testing available. There are a number of people who have been exposed to this disease that have some antibodies in the system that never even knew, right? They went on with their day and they never knew that they had coronavirus, so they may have some antibodies built up. And the antibody tests that are out there, they're really only giving you a positive negative. They're not really measuring, T cells, the important element of those antibodies that show that we have a certain level of immunity. So it's kind of a crapshoot for a lot of people when they're going to see some of these side effects. And I mention this because you should plan accordingly, right? I'm encouraging you to figure out when your dosages are going to be, whether it's every 3 weeks or 4 weeks for the Moderna or the Pfizer versus the Moderna vaccine, and just schedule yourself with the understanding that for about 48 hours, you just need to make sure that you don't have anything pressing that you need to do. If you have a fun weekend planned, maybe don't schedule your vaccine for the Friday prior and then realize that you're going to be bent over in bed feeling like complete crap. Or if you have something important at work, right? Maybe you schedule around it. Maybe you schedule a day off afterwards. You just need to make sure that you are prepared for the potential for those side effects on either dose, because there's no guarantee as to when you're going to get them. So for me personally, I'm scheduled to work tomorrow. I'm not going to be on site. I'll be working from home. And if things get really bad, well, my workplace is flexible, right? We're working together as a team. Most of us are going to get the vaccine. We're willing to cover for one another. If I need to use vacation time or make up that time later, they're encouraging us to get the vaccine. They're paying a lot of the hourly and floor level employees 4 hours of pay to go get each dose of the vaccine, so a total of 8 hours of pay, so that they don't have to feel like they're missing work. All right, so I have that type of flexibility. Every employer is different. You have to weigh that out, weigh out what you have available, but do your best to strategically schedule the vaccines, especially now, at least here in North America. We're getting to the point where those vaccines are being readily available. There's a lot more flexibility with appointments, and you can schedule it around your life so that you don't have to basically get your vaccine at the destruction of your routine or your life or what's going on. So just plan for that accordingly. But that's kind of my introduction here. It's just some things to keep in mind, right? What's going on with the vaccine, what you might be able to expect in terms of side effects. I'm going to go in there, get my vaccine. I'm probably not going to be able to film anything in there. I just want to respect people's privacy. Obviously, there's HIPAA. I don't think this is going to be a very private environment. I'm at a convention center right now, one of those kind of pop-up stations. A lot of schools, churches are mass vaccinating people in centers like this. We're not quite at the point where you can just kind of walk into a pharmacy or grocery store, but that's coming soon. But what I will do is I will come back out, I will share how the flow went, what to kind of expect when you do get your shot, and then I will just kind of keep a camera handy over the next 24 to 48 hours and share whatever I might experience. I only did this for the sticker. That's it. Adults work for stickers. But pretty simple process. I was in and out of there in less than 20 minutes. I went in, told them about my appointment. I had signed up through the Department of Health website, so they had a whole list of people with names and all of that jazz with their appointments. They highlight my name, they take your ID, give you a little bit of paperwork surrounding the information about the vaccine. Then they ask you if you're going to your first dose or second dose. They direct you to the tables. You sit down. There's 2 people sitting at the table. One of them is pulling up your information on the computer. That next person takes your ID. They pull it up. They ask you to verify on a computer screen. They actually had a secondary laptop that they were controlling remotely, and you made sure that everything there was correct, your name, address, phone number, all of that information, while the other person was prepping up the vaccine, asking some cursory questions, things like, do you consent? Do you understand? Do you intend to get pregnant? Do you have cancer? All of those questions that are typical. Have you ever had anaphylactic shock? Some basic medical questions to make sure that you don't have a reaction. They give you the shot. It takes a minute. Little pinch, typical shot. It doesn't hurt any more than the typical shot does. I know that the tetanus one is a little bit more painful, but this one was pretty standard operating procedure. Right into the muscle of the arm. You get to pick what arm it goes into. That was done quickly. By the time that one person was finished committing my information, the other one was done with a shot, asked if I had any questions, and that was pretty much it. They gave me my vaccination card here, and you basically bring the same card back with you and have them mark up the second date. I did ask about lamination after the second one. They recommend not laminating your cards just in case you ruin them, which makes sense. You can take a picture or make a copy of that and laminate that. That's perfectly acceptable. I'm thinking I might just buy one of those like lanyard, sleeves for badges and try to find one that's of the right size. This isn't quite a 3x5. I think this is probably like a 3x4. So I'll find something that fits that just to put it inside, just to keep it protected as of right now. Like this is really your proof of vaccination until things get up to speed, and certain places, things, whatever, are going to require them. I'm sure it's going to be required for travel, so make sure that you protect that card. So after I got the vaccine completed, they do give you a time. They gave me one of these things here. They want you to sit for 15 minutes just to make sure that there's no immediate effects, that you're lightheaded, that you're not safe. So you sit there in a chair. They have the clock right up there on a couple of monitors on the wall. You sit there for the 15 minutes and then you're pretty much free to leave. They don't really babysit you. I guess you could just walk out, but they just want to make sure you're safe. They have aides available just in case. You can raise your hand. They can come and help you and get you whatever you need. But I didn't feel any weird side effects immediately. But just be prepared for that when you make an appointment, or if you do a walk-in, just be prepared for like a pharmacist or an administrator of the vaccine to ask you to wait. So it's not necessarily going to be an in and out. The vaccination portion was super fast, under 90 seconds, but you're going to sit there for 15 minutes. So again, I was in there for maybe a total of 20 minutes from, they check your temperature, they give you the details, they check you in, they give you the shot, you sit there for 15 minutes. So pretty easy. They've got that pretty much down to a science, very organized, knew exactly what they were doing, no complaints about the process whatsoever. I don't know about other states and areas, but I'm assuming it's pretty similar. So far with the experience, I have been pleased with at least the rollout and how that they're presenting it. They're keeping it as the least obtrusive manner possible to give everybody these vaccinations. So I'm going to head home, and we'll see what happens over the next 24 to 48 hours, and I'll give you any updates as they come up.
Many hours later.
Okay, it's about 3:30 in the morning right now. For about the past 2 hours, I've been getting some onset of symptoms starting pretty much exactly 1:30 in the morning, so 12 hours after I got the shot. And right now I'm feeling some body aches and just a general feeling like I can't quite get warm, so some chills. I just checked my temperature. It's only elevated by about a half degree, so nothing super substantive yet. I just got up and grabbed the Motrin and took some of that to see if I can assuage some of the body aches and the fever. So nothing super severe at the moment, but I figured I got up. I'll document what's going on right now. So 12 hours afterwards, some body aches and mild chills. We'll see how things progress, but I'm kind of prepared for getting hit this time around. Certainly feels like I would feel as there would be some kind of onset of the flu or sickness. The joints and all of that stuff don't feel fantastic. So that's the point of this, to document. I'm exhausted. I feel like I can sleep, but my sleep has been very, it's like been a half sleep, right? I've been aware of what's going on and just trying to get warm. So I'll try again now that I've taken the Motrin, and I'll check back in later.
So first and foremost, it's April 21st, ladies and gentlemen. It snowed.
Okay, good morning. It is 9:10 a.m. on April 21st, so we're closing in on 20 hours after I received the first shot. I'm just doing some stuff at work here shortly after my update last night at about 3:30 in the morning. I wasn't able to fall asleep, so I got up and I took a shower. So a little bit of a fun tip or pro tip for you. If you aren't feeling well, if you have a fever, if you have body aches, chills, whether you have the flu, coronavirus, you're dealing with the vaccination, cold, whatever it is, go and get in the shower. It might not feel like you want to get up in the moment and stand there and do whatever, but I can guarantee you it almost always alleviates the symptoms. There's science behind that as well. This isn't just my anecdotal experience. It helps to stimulate blood flow and can vastly diminish the symptoms that you have. Depending on how serious they are, it could potentially eliminate them in the short term. So, you get in there, get showered up, nice hot water, and then you trap that body heat in there, whether you've got like a nice fuzzy robe or, get dressed and throw a nice fleece blanket to trap that heat inside, and you really do start to feel a little bit better. It enabled me to be able to fall asleep for a short period of time before I had to go to work. So I've been doing a little bit of work here for the last couple of hours. I'm actually in between meetings here, but I start to feel some of these symptoms coming back. So right now I'm feeling a little bit of pressure in my head, almost like I do have a cold, just a mild amount of congestion here. And then I feel a lot of like weight and just pressure up in my torso. Like I have some pressure in my chest. It's more like a fatigue feeling pressure, not like a difficulty in breathing, but just like I almost worked my lungs like muscles and they're just tired and fatigued, right? So there's just that, if you've ever felt that before, if you have the flu or something like that, it just feels like almost something sitting on your chest and making things more difficult. And over the last 20 minutes or so, I'm starting to feel kind of that onset of maybe some chills, a little bit of achiness in the upper body. Took a little bit more Motrin. I got a couple more meetings to do here. Then I have a short break, so maybe I'll jump in and take another shower to kind of help offset some of those symptoms in the short term and just kind of get through. I definitely am happy to be working from home because if I was up and moving around, I think that this was just be completely exacerbated, right? I'm able to manage okay because I'm sitting. I can actually take a meeting that I don't need to use the computer and kind of lay back either on the couch or prop myself up on the bed with a laptop or my tablet or what have you. So I'm not feeling great. I'm not feeling terrible. I don't feel like I've been completely knocked on my ass, but certainly would not be up for an active job, an active day. I didn't train at all last night on the bike, knowing that, I don't want to bake in more fatigue into the system and have to try to shed that while trying to deal with whatever was going to come my way from an immune response. So I'm glad I didn't. I don't foresee myself training either today unless, I have a distinct turnaround later in the day where all the symptoms just completely fall away. We'll see what happens, but I got a meeting to jump onto now, so I figured I'd give an update and then I'll jump on a little bit later.
Okay, so it's coming on 4:25 p.m., still the 21st of April, and you can see I'm, appropriately prepared for bed here. But I did okay for most of the day. I usually finish up work around 3:30, start early, finish up early, all of that jazz. But around 2:30, I started feeling not very good and made my way back into the bedroom, just brought my computer in here and worked on some emails and sending out some meeting invites. And around 3 o'clock, I kind of had to call it. Thought maybe I'd roll over and take a nap for about 60 minutes to 90 minutes, and I just couldn't get comfortable. You just can't get warm, feeling achy, not feeling the greatest, and I was not able to fall asleep because I just was that uncomfortable. So got up, took another shower for about a half an hour, thus the towel and the wet head and all of that fun stuff. So that is certainly a tremendous help. It doesn't eliminate the symptoms by any stretch of the imagination, but it makes them tolerable. So instead of being too distracted with discomfort, I'm able to at least settle in and rest and feel like, my body temperature is a little bit more regulated from an internal perspective. So hopefully I'll be able to get a little bit more rest. I think I'm still going to take a nap here. I know it's a little late in the day. I'm probably running a risk of not being able to fall asleep later, but considering how short I am on sleep, I think the mitigating or limiting factor is going to be whether or not I can get comfortable. So if I have to take shower 4,327 tonight before I go to bed, I guess that is what it is, right? So things aren't necessarily getting any worse. They're just kind of vacillating between, peaks and valleys. So I kind of felt as bad as I did at 3 o'clock in the morning. So 12 hours later, I don't know, maybe there's something to those numbers. Maybe it's just sheer coincidence, but definitely felt the worst, but it's not getting worse than that first peak that I had overnight last night. So I think that I'm just kind of going to go back and forth between until this kind of resolves itself. Everything I've looked at people's anecdotal accounts at the very least looks like it's going to be somewhere around a day and a half. So that would probably put me somewhere around tomorrow morning, around, wake up time or work time. We'll see how I feel. If I just have some lagging fatigue, which I'm expecting, I'm going to go to work on site and really just go along with my day and recover from that and just do what I can to mitigate the losses from the lack of energy. But if I feel like this and I'm having difficulty, just not feeling comfortable from a temperature standpoint, I'm going to do another work from home day tomorrow. Because, if you can't feel like you're getting warm or comfortable or everything's kind of aching and bothering you, it's really tough to be at work. And productivity-wise, it's not a good thing. I'm more productive here at home if I can just kind of layer on clothes, look like an idiot, take a half an hour break, go take a shower, warm up, do whatever. So I think that I will play that by ear for tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens. But, again, I came into this prepared. We'll see how I feel shortly. I think I'm going to take that nap, see what happens, see if I wake up feeling any better. I do feel a little bit more comfortable. I actually can expose some skin without feeling like I'm writhing around. The cats are just absolutely losing their minds right now. But I will check in with you guys again shortly and let you know how things are progressing.
Good morning, ladies and germs. It is 9:30 a.m. on Thursday, April 22nd, 2021. So I'm about 2 days after my vaccine, minus a few hours here. And after my update I did yesterday, late afternoon, I really was not feeling well at all. I just, again, those body aches and that feeling of not being able to get warm. Certainly better after I took the shower, but I really wasn't very restful for the period of time after that video until somewhere around maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock, where the symptoms started to diminish quite a bit. And I think by 8:30 I was asleep. So that is uncharacteristic of me, and I slept all the way through the night. I think I got like 9 hours of sleep. I'm gonna have to look. It's more sleep than I normally get, and I certainly feel it. I let myself get the rest that the body needs. Right now I'm feeling kind of that sleep hangover, almost like I got too much sleep, even though I know that intellectually that's not the case. But I don't really feel much anymore. I have a few after effects. I feel like there's still a little bit of a junk kicking around in the head, like, the last day of a cold where you're just kind of getting rid of the rest of the crap. Again, kind of that sleep hangover feeling. Energy is fine. Body temperature is fine. I feel fine. I'm pretty much normal. And I think I'm going to call it at that, right? A day and a half is kind of what I expected based on other people's experiences. And that's about what I had to deal with. It was pretty much on the money, a day and a half. So, not that the body knows how to time things by number of days or number of hours, but it really feels like I kind of, snapped out of it in a substantial way at about a day and a half. And now I'm just going to kind of deal with today to get rid of the lasting or lagging effects of maybe a little bit of physical fatigue. So I'm going to try to train a little bit later today, just something easy. I'm just going to commit to maybe an hour easy on the bike. If I'm feeling better when it gets to that point, I'll certainly ride longer, but I'm not going to count on something in my head or a hard training session and then get frustrated because I'm not able to accomplish it because there's still some fatigue hanging around in the system. But I'm going to call it here for logging the side effects because I think that we're, for all intents and purposes, done, right? So the rest of this, the 2 days that I had kind of planned for, I don't think there's going to be much to share. But I hope that you guys are finding this helpful for those of you to know what to expect if you have a situation similar to mine. And I want to put out a disclaimer to end this video that maybe I should have prefaced this video with, but throughout this video you can tell that I am sharing my experience, my decision, my opinions. I am not trying to preach or proselytize anybody to whether or not they should get the vaccine. I said very clearly and declaratively in my last video, and I'll say it again here, I encourage you to consider the vaccine, to do the research, to figure out what's right for you and your family. That's it. Full stop. If you decide that it's not right for you, that's cool, man. That's you do you. I respect your decision and you as a person. I encourage everybody to have the same level of respect for your fellow human beings. And we leave it at that, right? If you want to share your experience or something that's part of you physically, reason why you can't or why you are getting the vaccine, down below, by all means. But these videos are not an invitation for people to start with divisive political rhetoric, debate. Just those conversations always devolve into something that is unhealthy. My channel is not the place for that, okay? If you want to go find some kind of heated debate about vaccines or anything else for that matter, it'll take you about 4.6 seconds to go over to Twitter and find about 15 of those, right? This is a positive channel. This set of videos, this video in particular, is being shared because it is something that is relevant to the vast majority of people out there. It's health related, it's fitness related, it impacts my training. It impacts a lot of things, and it's a global pandemic. That is why it's being shared on this channel, not because this channel is by any means political or trying to be a news channel or speak to current events. This is just my experience. So me sharing this is not an invitation for people to go out there and tell me that I've swallowed the propaganda, or I'm one of the sheep, or we're all idiots for getting the vaccine. And it's also not an invitation for those people to say, you know, hey, the people who don't get vaccinated are killing grandma. You know, there are people who legitimately cannot get the vaccine for personal reasons, for physiological reasons, right? Just be respectful of one another. Keep your comments to the facts. Keep them to your own personal experiences. Don't get in arguments. And let me be clear. The vast majority of you out there are perfectly positive, normal human beings, right? But it only takes one rotten apple to spoil the whole bunch. So I'm just putting that disclaimer out there right now, and to protect the community and the people who are respectful. If I see those types of comments, I will promptly delete them, or I will block you from the channel if I feel that it's egregious enough, right? It's not about people who don't agree with me. It's about the good faith versus bad faith argumentation that we see so prevalent on social media. So please keep it respectful. Please keep it positive. I feel bad for those of you who have to listen to me say this, because I shouldn't have to say this, but it is 2021 and it is what it is, right? But I do appreciate you guys making it to the end of the video and all of your support through all of this. I'll probably put up another short video on the second dose, although I don't think that there's going to be much to speak of for me. I think most people are having the side effects during one dose or another, but I'll put up a quick short if anything is going on for that. That is on May 11th of 2021. Thank you guys for all the support. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns that you think that I might not have answered, I think I was pretty detailed. There wasn't anything I left out because it was embarrassing, no stomach upset or anything like that. But if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'll do the best I can to answer them. Subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.